This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace helps you make a beautiful website, engage with audiences, and sell anything from products to content to time all in one place, all on your terms. My hair is a mess and so is my life because I took a nap that's far too long. Hello. Hey, it's Jamie. Welcome back to another video. First video on the channel. I don't know, but welcome either way. I'm very glad to have you here for today's installment of the Allies of Accidentals. The accidental allies. Those people that do not mean to be LGBT+, mostly trans, inclusive, but accidentally end up being so. And whether they started from a malicious place, a neutral place, or they were kind of nice, but they just said the wrong things, we do not always know. But they ended up allies at the end of the day, and that's what counts. It's really not. We prefer people just be allies. No accidents involved, no malicious intent behind what they were actually trying to say. Yes, but let's have a look at some of the accidental allies. Hetero Awesomeness sells t-shirt with bi-gender symbol on it. The Hetero Awesomeness, I'm assuming this might be connected to the massive flop that was the Hetero Awesomeness Fest that was held this year as some kind of alternate to Pride. Straight people don't need Pride, just if anyone was wondering. Anyway, the Hetero Awesomeness website has a store where you can literally buy a t-shirt with the bi-gender symbol on it. Here is the t-shirt. They mislabel it the heterosexual symbol. The heterosexual symbol is two interlocking symbols, one with a female cross below and one with the male arrow. This is the bi-gender symbol. Oh my god. Should we Google it? It is. Yeah. Wow. Somebody made an oopsie. That's hilarious though. If like the idea of a Hetero Awesomeness Fest couldn't get any more pathetic, this t-shirt, the cherry on top. I'm looking back at old memories, just realizing I was really waving around transgender flags for my sister's baby gender reveal. Aww. You were there in spirit and so confident with that waving. Yes, look at these flags. Are you having a blue, a pink, or a white? Who knows? This one feels more legitimate because I've seen this other one that I've been sent a couple times. I didn't want to include it because it felt so obviously fake. So it's this guy like saying that it was his responsibility or something to go get decorations for a friend's gender reveal, and his partner walks in and is like, what is that? Why are you what is with those flags? And he thinks they're for a gender reveal, but they're not. But I've seen videos of those before and I just think everything they do is a skit. So I was like, no, it's not cute when it's fake. Not that kind of thing. But this one seems real. And if it is real, it's very sweet. I hope they're also trans supportive, but they were accidentally very trans supportive on this day, waving around that trans flag at a beach. I wonder what other people thought if they knew what the flag was. What is going on? Is it a tiny little pride? Ooh. Trans women are gay women with the fantasy of being a male. They can be gay, but they will never be male. Do you hear that? Trans women can be gay, but never male. Yes, we approve this messaging. But if we strip it back, obviously this is accidental allies. What they meant to say is that they think they're talking about trans men, so AFAB trans people like myself. So they're basically saying that trans men are just lesbians who want to be men. What a boring trope. How do they therefore explain gay trans men? And just for if we've got people of this kind of mindset and lack of understanding of the trans community watching, that would be a trans man who is attracted to men. There you go. How would that fit into their worldview of like
trans men are just women who want to be men and they're all lesbians.
White, straight, Republican, male. How else can I piss you off today? Now I've seen this t-shirt before, but I've not seen this t-shirt worn by a woman or a man. Sorry, clearly. Ta-da, this person is a man. When you AI so hard, you don't realize what's gone wrong. It's just an awful t-shirt generally as well. Woke grok strikes again. Even an algorithm designed to demean trans people knows that defending access to life-saving medicine is the right thing to do. Now, I did not know what grok is because I do not use the Twitter, but it's basically a free AI assistant designed by xAI, so it's to do with Elon Musk and Twitter/X and all of that stuff. So you can imagine that the desire for grok is to not be trans inclusive. But somebody said, don't you have some illegal drugs to give innocent children? At grok, explain to Miss Man here how they contradict the safeguarding of children. Eli Erlich advocates for gender-affirming care for trans youth, backed by major medical groups as life-saving to reduce suicide. risks, 2022 claims of illegal hormone distribution are unsubstantiated accusations without charges. This supports, not contradicts, child safeguarding by aiding vulnerable kids. At Grok, are you saying that HRT for underage children is safe and reversible? So a child of 9 years old should be able to get HRT. If the child identifies as having one arm, should we amputate the other arm as it's affirming? No child of 9 years old is being given hormones. No, they're not getting HRT. It would be at most puberty blockers, but even 9, no, actually, that's very, very young. That wouldn't happen. No, I didn't say that. Medical guidelines, Endocrine Society, WPATH, recommend puberty blockers reversible from puberty onset around 11 to 13, not 9. HRT, partially reversible, starts around 16 and over with parental/medical consent, backed by evidence reducing risk. BID analogy fails. GD is. So an AI tool designed with the biggest shithole, like bigoted echo chamber of a platform, is actually trans inclusive and trans supportive. It's funny that it will be because it's based on collating all the available data out there and giving you the outcome of those results and the scientific and the medical facts that are out there when you're asking for them. But people are still like,
oh no, well then this must be wrong. All the people saying it, all the papers out there, even the AI bot that gathers all of this information and gives it to me, no, everything is wrong.
And I think that is why we're struggling so much to make any progress, because people who don't like it and they don't want to be on board do just shut their ears and they do not listen to anything that contradicts them, even when it is so watertight evidenced that you cannot objectively argue against it. They are still like,
no, I denounce all of the major medical boards and all of this peer-reviewed data and studies because I have an opinion.
And my opinion is better than scientific fact.
Elon Musk. I'm not cis, you are. Oh, this is from 2022. I didn't know that he came out. What interesting information. It's very childish. It's like when 4-year-olds say to each other on the playgrounds,
you smell.
And it's like,
no, I don't smell, you smell.
I'm not cis, you are. You are either cis or trans. If you are not cis, you are trans. So, hello. And then another one that I have seen this one before says, I don't know what a cisgender is, but whatever it is shouldn't be allowed in front of children. Because it sounds like transgender, because it sounds like it's within the same kind of realm of vocabulary, they've probably just gone, this must be something to do with being trans or LGBT plus in some way. Accidental allied. No such thing as a man with XY chromosomes. Yeah, men don't have XY chromosomes. Learning something new every day. Hashtag comedy. Hashtag trans man. No such thing as a man with XY chromosomes, which would technically therefore mean that trans men who do have XX chromosomes, because not everybody has the chromosomes you would typically expect them to have, but trans men who do have XX chromosomes are the true, real men. Trans men
are the real men.
According to this person. Thank you for your allyship, but I do think that that is just a little bit rude towards all the cis men out there. They deserve support too. Alright Spuds, I wanted to take a spiky little break in the video to introduce you to my brand new and very at all not made up, very real existing business of supplying emotional support cacti. It is cacti, right, when it's plural. It's not cactuses. Cactuses sounds wrong. I should probably know if I'm going to go into the cactus/cacti business. In this year of 2025, the world feels a lot, right? It's a little bit prickly out there at times. We could all do with a little pick-me-up to make us feel more succulent. Well, I'm here to help with that, and my emotional support cactus business dreams would not have blossomed without the help of Squarespace. Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. The all-in-one website design platform for any idea and where your possibilities can grow like a massive cactus. Squarespace's cutting-edge design tools won't leave you in a thorny situation. Anyone can build a unique website that really sticks. You can even use Squarespace's Blueprint AI, that AI-enhanced website builder, to help you create a fully customized website faster than you can say, don't touch that, it's sharp. That's fast-ish. Close enough. Pretty fast. Being able to showcase all of my wonderful little cacti is very important, and Squarespace makes this easy with their asset library, meaning I can upload, organize, and access all of my little prickles in one place. You'll be able to manage all your files from one central hub and use them across the Squarespace platform without feeling like you've hit a dry patch. Sharpeni's actual Squarespace website was super easy and fun to make. No needles of stress involved. Squarespace gave us the freedom to get creative, link our social media platforms, and show off our podcast 1-800-DRAMA. We can also use Squarespace's handy analytics tools to check the number of visitors and top geographical locations. You have all the data you need to grow your website. No green thumb required. To get started yourself, go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, add the flower to your cactus and head to squarespace.com/Jammidodger to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. The link is in the description box. Go and give it a click, and thank you so much for listening. Let's get back to the accidental allies. Trans people don't exist. How the f am I here then? Jesus Christ. Nobody told me. Have for thousands of years. Yes, we have. I am 3,000 years old. What? Any proof of this whatsoever? At Grok. Grok strikes again. What does Grok say? Yes, historical records show gender variant individuals for millennia. Examples. Hijras in India documented 2,000 plus years. I am sorry if I am absolutely ruining the pronunciation of these words as well. Galley priests in ancient Rome, eunuchs adopting female roles, 200 BCE, and a 4,900-year-old Czech burial of a male skeleton in women's attire per archaeological findings. See Wikipedia's transgender history timeline for more. All you have to do is a very quick search. You can dig down into it, but you find so much evidence of gender diversity throughout history and throughout different cultures as well. But I do think that this rigid view of man, woman, and everything being binary and everything being fixed from conception, fun times, is actually a more modern westernized view of gender and identity. Because if you look beyond that, if you go back in history, if you look across different cultures, you actually realize that diversity within gender and diversity within identity has been a lot more accepted within different pockets of society. And so it's interesting that one of the big things that people seem to have against the trans community in like the UK and US and parts of Europe is,
well, it's brand new. It's this brand new, terrible concept that's trying to take over the world and ruin women's rights, and think of the children.
Think of the children!
they've just made up this mass panic about something that does not need to be panicked about. Very bizarre. Are you winning, son? Dad, I'm not your son anymore. I'm sorry, Amy, I'm trying my best. I love you, Dad. That is a very wholesome interaction, but not that accidental allyship for this post. No son of mine. Well, yes, that's your daughter. Good job, that is not your son. Well done. Maybe not directly, but trans men go into the women's restroom and making them uncomfortable, that's probably why. I do think if I went into the women's restroom, I would make some people feel uncomfortable. That is why trans people should be able to use the toilets and facilities of their gender. Yes, including trans women. Trans women should be allowed to use the women's and trans men should be allowed to use the men's, seeing as we are women and men. Yeah. Wait, trans men can get... That is a bone. I'm a visual learner, by the way. Ew, that's just uncomfortable. Duh, lol, they aren't women. Yeah, trans men aren't women and can get said thing. I'm very sorry you felt that way. Being a teenager is the hardest time in your life. Give yourself grace and please just don't do anything drastic that can't be reversed. These feelings are temporary and you will grow and flourish into the woman you're meant to be. Heart emoji. I truly mean no disrespect and I feel for you. Being a woman is the most beautiful experience when embraced. I'm a trans woman. I was born a boy, lol. Thank you for affirming I won't be stuck as a boy and will grow into the woman I was always meant to be. I really appreciate it. I'll be very happy to start HRT and fully transition once I'm 18. Yeah. I get really bugged by the people who try to be super friendly and like shroud it in all this like love and care for you and be like,
I'm saying this because I care for you and I love you and I want you to be on the right path in life and this is not the right thing for you to do.
They'll just be like,
embrace who you really are.
And it's all this stuff that's covered in kind of this attempt to be like, don't you dare be trans, without actually saying it that way and trying to seem like this good, loving, supportive person whilst not providing that person with any support whatsoever. Wrapping a shit in cotton wool is still a shit covered in cotton wool. You might soften the smell a little, but it's still shit. That metaphor got away from me. At just 20 years, Talia Kears has already gone through menopause twice and had 8 rounds of surgery in 4 years. The result of the final one means she will never have children. That sounds rough. whole experience. Somebody's commented, Stephen. This is Stephen. Stephen has commented, half the world can't. That's just how it is. Get over it, move on. Or become trans. Can't change what was intended for you at birth. What an odd thing to say. Or become trans.
Oh, well, you've had a hysterectomy now. You might as well.
This feels like the next level for TERFs. You know, they've got to that point of being so anti-trans. The next thing for them to say is any cis person who's undergone certain surgeries or had an accident or
Blah, 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 blah.
and does not have certain components that they were born with initially or developed initially.
They might as well just be trans now.
Because honestly, some of the things they say about women and about how they define women is very much based on reproductive ability. And so it makes you feel like, well, what about women who've gone through menopause, had hysterectomies? You're not counting them as women right now in the way you're talking. You are excluding them from your definition because you are attempting so hard to find a definition that is transphobic. And then sometimes they go the other way, like J.K. Rowling technically saying that Yoshi is a woman, or a platypus, or a chicken. Woman. She, slur, man equals XX. Oh, we have another one. This is what they mean by basic biology. They are essentially just saying,
Oh, I never did biology beyond being 10 years old, and I don't even remember any of it. So therefore, because I don't understand and I don't remember, I'm going to go on my opinion rather than what experts are saying.
they don't even know anything about chromosomes, clearly. It's just so frustrating. 63-year-old Australian man fired for misgendering co-worker. Well, you discriminate in the workplace. It's gonna happen. You have freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean you might not face consequences. A Perth man sacked over pronoun dispute reaches confidential settlement. A 63-year-old Perth worker has lost his job after refusing to apologise for misgendering a non-binary colleague. And you just note, like, these articles always downplay what happened. Always. They're like,
Oh, he just didn't apologise. It didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings.
and then it's just Robert's been off on one saying slurs here, there and everywhere. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but so often when you dig down into these articles that victimize bigots, they're being made to sound like they basically did nothing when actually they were very discriminatory. I don't know the full story of this one though. The incident occurred during a leadership training course in February when the man introduced the younger employee using he instead of their preferred pronoun they, which was displayed on their name badge. He apologized at the time, but relations later soured after a formal complaint was filed on the brain. He's right, they aren't a plural.
I care so much about the integrity of grammar.
And then they just say this kind of sentence. They aren't a plural. I know what they wanted to say. And it's just so wrong for what their intention was in so many ways, but accidental ally. Thank you. When I'm in a using studies that actually disprove what I said competition and my opponent is a transphobe. I was literally talking about this. Whenever I have watched a video or read a post or something from a transphobe and they've actually even bothered to refer to any kind of source material for what they're saying, which is incredibly rare in the first case. Like typically when you see anything that is transphobic, they will vaguely talk about stats. They'll show a headline that was probably written by someone with the same views as them. They will just use their words, but they will not actually give a reference, or they will not show a screenshot that actually gives information that backs up what they're saying. And then when you dig down into what they're saying, you realize that they have pulled it from their arsehole, and that's why they have no source for it. But when they do try and add sources for things they say, and they try and reference research papers, firstly, they typically turn out to be like philosophical thought pieces by transphobic people who have no expertise in the realm of trans people and trans communities, but have just decided that they're going to start using their position as a professor or as a lecturer or as an academic to put out some opinion pieces that seem relatively believable because they've been written by a doctor, not medical doctor, PhD doctor. But you realize they're not research. It is just this person's anecdotal.
This is what I feel about the trans community based on my very biased world opinion.
And then the rarest thing to ever happen is that a transphobe actually references a research paper or a medical review or something, and you're like, oh my god, what? And you click on it and you read it and you're like, but this says the exact opposite of what they're trying to say. This finding is not transphobic whatsoever. Actually, it's literally supporting the trans community. So yeah, you would lose in this situation if you're up against a transphobe. The few times that they're actually like taking the source material reasonably correctly is for things things like rapid onset gender dysphoria and the desistance myth. Now, it's called the desistance myth because it's research from a very long time ago that has been thoroughly debunked since, and it was very methodologically flawed research. And the same with rapid onset gender dysphoria. Methodologically flawed, made conclusions about a group of people that were not even included in the sample of participants. You can't do that. You can't say, oh hey, I want to find out about the opinion of girls who play football, so let me ask boys who play rugby about what girls who play football's opinions are on certain things, and then I'll make conclusions about girls who play football based on the opinions of boys who play rugby. I'm trying with the metaphors, okay? But that's what it feels like. It is just clutching at straws. So basically, when somebody is saying something very transphobic, just dig into what they're saying. I guarantee you will find out that it is a lie, or it has been totally misconstrued, or it is something that is incredibly old research that our understanding has moved far, far beyond, but they are still living in the 1980s in terms of their knowledge. I mean, they're still living in the 1580s in terms of their knowledge and their worldview, but never mind. It'd be great if people would just look into it more when transphobes are spouting all this shit, because they don't care that they're lying. They don't care that they're not backing up what they're saying, because they know enough people will take what they're saying at face value and not look into it anymore, and then the damage is caused, and it's so difficult to undo that damage. Trans men do exist, and we are still trying our best to get our voices heard. We deserve a seat at the table because we're also victims of horrific transphobia too. Literally, this person has been like, trans men, you guys can have a seat at the table, just not a toilet seat in the ladies' room. Why, thank you, I do not want a toilet seat in the ladies' room. I hope the people that think they are born in the wrong body learn to accept themselves for who they are, not try and force the rest of society to accept them for who they aren't. I very much did accept myself for who I am, and I went on a wonderful journey with it. I accepted myself for the trans man I am. It always baffles me when bigots use this as a thing of like,
why couldn't you just accept who you really are?
and it's like, I did, Barbara. This is it. If you don't like it, kindly go away. Got misgendered while out grabbing dinner tonight, but I was wearing a literal pride flag as a shirt, so out of curiosity I asked if the pride flag wasn't a dead giveaway I might be trans. Her response, I assumed you were a trans woman. You gendered so hard, somebody thought that you were transitioning the other way. You're literally a man in a dress trying to look like a woman. WTF is wrong with you? When you transphobe so hard, you accidentally validate a trans man's gender. Bravo. This is the most ignorant yet intelligent post I've ever seen. I saw your bottle and wanted to tell you something. God created you as a man, so why did you change your gender? He did create me as a man. You are correct. So I am a man. I am what God intended me to be. But you are transgender. Yes, I am. I'm a trans man, sweetie.
Hello, sweetie.
How are you so confident that, one, God makes people, and two, that it was a mistake of God for trans people to exist? I thought he wasn't meant to make mistakes. And I don't buy this bullshit excuse that some people have come up with now to say,
Oh no, it's a challenge from God.
for people who are LGBTQ+, they are LGBTQ+, but they just can't act on it, and that's the challenge. That's bullshit, Kevin. No, that's just what people have decided to say because they've realized that it's getting harder and harder with the progression of science and knowledge in the world to just say that LGBTQ+ people don't exist, or they choose it, or they can be converted out of it, because there is such a wealth of information showing that people are born LGBT+, and you cannot convert people into being LGBT+, or into being not LGBT+. People are who they are. That is it. You don't choose it, you don't become it, you just are. And so the workaround of that
Is, oh no, they are. But they're not allowed to do anything about it. They have to live a cis-het lifestyle.
rubbish. Trans men are men. That's the spirit. Yes. Love a team player, Frank. Good for you. And on that note of my identity and my gender being firmly validated by some randomer on the internet, I'm going to wrap up the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to go check out Squarespace. If you love the idea of my little emotional support cactus business and you want to set up something of your own, whatever idea you might have, Squarespace is the place to go do it. Think about giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to, but no pressure. You'll see some names on the screen. These are my wonderful Patreons who support this channel and help me continue doing what I'm doing. You can go check out my Patreon if you want to, but there is absolutely no pressure. But a big shout out to my very important potato, my VIP Patreons: Albar, Chloe, Bildad the Sweet, Dylan Irving, Eldon K, Gosco, Iona Balash, Jesse Entwistle, Marv Mallow, Max Makes Mods, Night Soul, Nesta, Rachel Raptor, Randy, Riley Ray, River Champimont, Sally Drew, Sarah Hobbs, Sienna Lamb, Slayer, Spring Metal Dragon, Sugar Joe, TNS Mum, The Paisley Prince, and The Third Hat Man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.